In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a cardboard relief tile. This is a process where a picture is created using cut up pieces of corrugated cardboard. You can get this kind of cardboard from boxes from the supermarket, or I got mine from an Amazon delivery. These pieces are built up in layers on top of a flat cardboard base to create a tile. Before you start, you need to have drawn a design. This is a plan of what you might create. I usually get my students to draw 3 and then choose the best one. You don't have to stick to this exactly, in fact you will probably change parts of it as you go along. When you're creating your design and when you're creating your tile, there are some important visual elements that you need to think about that I've highlighted in bold. So composition, that's the arrangement of your piece. Where are all the different cardboard pieces going to go? Which part is going to be your main focal point? What bits are going to be more in the background and what part is going to be more in the foreground? This leads on to scale. Scale means the sizes of the different components in your piece. So which parts are going to be bigger and which parts are going to be smaller. It's always good to have a good contrast of big to small pieces. Make sure you're considering the minute, tiny little details. And then lastly, techniques. So this is something that you're going to explore as you go along, as you are creating your tile. What kind of ways can you experiment with the cardboard? How many different ways can you think about? It could be that you're cutting up different shapes. You could peel away some of the paper to show the corrugated texture. You might even want to paint some of it or draw on it. You might want to rip pieces instead of cut them. If you've got a hole punch, you could punch holes. You could create marks or score using a pen by pressing really hard. There's lots and lots of different things. A good idea is to search cardboard relief on Google Images and you will see some of the different techniques people have explored here. You will need a corrugated cardboard box, a ruler, a pencil, a rubber, a pair of scissors, a glue stick, and your chosen design. We're going to start off by cutting out a square base for our tile. We're going to work from a corner of the box where there is already a right angle fold and measure 15 centimetres from the side and 15 centimetres from the bottom. I'm using the top of the box to help me get my measurements accurate. Use your scissors to carefully cut along the folds and the marks that you have made. I have cut out an identical square to help me draw out my composition. Using my design as a guide, I have drawn out all of the main shapes I can see, starting with the big diagonal curl as this helps me to divide up the space. You can see I have already decided to change bits of my design as I like these teardrop shapes better and I thought it fit the overall shape of the composition a bit better. The next step was to carefully cut out the shapes, turning the cardboard around with my other hand to help me cut around curves and details. I checked over each shape and used my scissors to trim it down further to make the shape more smooth and to the way that I wanted it. Once I'd cut each shape out, I arranged them on my base, but did not stick them down. It is always best to stick your shapes down at the end because you may change your mind about your composition as you go along and you may come up with some more interesting ideas and techniques to try. Once I'd laid out the main shapes, I decided my tile could do with a bit more detail, so I added these thin strips on top. I used scrap bits of card, measuring them against the main curl to keep the width the same all the way along. I peeled off the top layer from the cardboard to expose the corrugated texture in the middle. I decided to do this in alternating shapes to give my design some variety and make it more complex. Once I was happy with the layout of my composition, I could then start gluing bits down. I used a scrap piece of paper underneath to keep my surfaces clean and worked from foreground to background, sticking the smallest, most fiddly parts down first. That way I didn't mess up the composition or lose any parts. Don't forget to put the lid on the glue stick when you're finished, then step back and marvel at your amazing work.